Dear Mecca, ever since Donald Trump decided to reawaken the witch hunts of communism, you guys have all been meat puppets echoing his, oh, we can't let America slide into socialism and then communism. So let me be clear about one thing right off the bat. Socialism and communism are not forms of government. They are economic systems just like capitalism. What one guy brought up, communism equals the murder of hundreds. Now, what you're talking about is the socialist pogroms. And that wasn't because of communism, that was because they had an authoritarian dictator. Authoritarianism is a system of government. And that's the real slide in America, is we are sliding into an authoritarian dictatorship under Donald Trump. Now, I know you guys are not great at doing your own research, but if you could, see if you can give me one example of a socialist country turning communist. You can't. You know why? It's never happened. They are similar but different economic systems. And what the people in America want is democratic socialism. So which we've had, by the way, for almost our entire existence. Things like fire and cops and streets and police and the Army and the Navy, libraries, schools, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. These are all socialist programs because they take taxes from the common pool in the government and they use it to help individuals. We just want to expand that to include things that should not be in the private sector, like healthcare and education. I also want you to think for a minute, who benefits? The Trump administration is doing its best to kill the Department of Education. So ask yourself, who benefits from an uneducated public? I tell you three right off the bat. One is an authoritarian dictatorship. One is the church, because they don't want people questioning their beliefs, and I mean any church. And the third is advertisers. They don't want you to question the legitimacy of their advertising. They just want you to buy their product. So now what's happening now in America is we have someone who really wants to be an authoritarian dictator. Now, if you would like, you can certainly look up earmarks of an authoritarian government and earmarks of a fascist government. And what you're going to see is a lot of what Donald Trump is doing right now. One is they each have their own secret police. With the Russians, it was KGB. With the Nazis, it was the Gestapo. And in America, it's ICE. These are quote-unquote police forces that are not answerable to anyone except the authoritarian. They don't have to answer to courts. They don't have to do anything else. Another earmark of an authoritarian dictatorship is that they ignore the orders of the courts. Trump has, and they also ignore the orders of whatever the governing body is. In our case, it's the House and the Senate. Trump has completely flouted court orders. He has completely flouted the authority of Congress to put funds toward different places, the power of the purse, that's called, and the ability to make war. He declared a war without Congress's authorization. Twice since then, Congress has agreed overwhelmingly, Republicans and Democrats both, that Trump needs to cease operations in Iran, and he's completely ignored them both times. Another thing is, they don't like media outlets that are critical of them. So take a look at what Trump has done to media outlets, calling them liars and calling them lately communists, and try to get shows that he doesn't like yanked off the air, and succeeded with Stephen Colbert, unfortunately. But his pet stations, Fox and whatever else is out there, Real American News, One American Network, whatever, they're fine because they're state media. They're just going to be, just like you, meat puppets and echo whatever Trump says as if it's true. And it's typically not. He lies a lot. We all know this, that he lies a lot. Another thing authoritarian dictators don't like is protest. The right to protest is protected by the First Amendment of our Constitution. In Trump's first term, he was rounding up protesters by men in plain clothes and herding them into unmarked vans. This is not a free country. Now, protesters in the United States have been murdered in our streets. They've been tear gassed. They have been attacked in every way they can be because Trump wants them to shut up. Let's see, what else? Birth rates. Russia, Nazi Germany, both of these countries obsessed over the right people having a lot of babies. Now, what's Trump and his regime doing? They've all but eliminated women's access to abortion in most states. Some states, like Texas, will even use flock cameras to track women across the border so that when they get back to Texas, they can be prosecuted for having an abortion. This is a violation of the Fourth Amendment, which is the protection against search and seizure. And also, several of his minion states are doing their best to make sure that women don't have access to birth control. Now, this goes deeper than Trump, unfortunately. This goes back to the 50s and 60s, when women would go into, Black women and Native American women would go into a clinic for a routine gynecological exam or an abortion, and they would be sterilized. Right now, there are Native American women filing a lawsuit against the government for this action. So, decrease the number of undesirables and increase the number of desirables. This is the great replacement theory, which doesn't exist, by the way. The other thing is that, I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry, I'm old. Hang on just a second. Let me see if I can get it back. I remember now. The other thing is the prosecution of undesirables. Every one of these regimes picks a minority group and decides that they're going to do everything they can to control or eliminate this minority group. With the Russians, it was Jews. With the Nazis, it was the Jews. With the Russians, it was all religions, basically. Karl Marx referred to religion as the opiate of the masses. But what's happening is, in America, Trump's pick for the undesirables was Muslims when he instituted the Muslim travel ban. Guess what the first thing that Hitler did to the Jews was? He restricted their travel. So that was the first step. I'm glad we got him out of office and that he got over this. But now it's Hispanics. He refers to these people as having dirty blood, which is the same way that Hitler referred to the Jews, and, as being all drug dealers and rapists and whatever. This is not how a free country operates. So first off, when you're going to leave a comment, if you decide to leave a comment, if you can't start it with the following country went from socialism to communism, then don't bother, because that's the main point of this video. And you can't do that. Also, you should know, I have read the Communist Manifesto, along with the Satanic Bible and a bunch of other, undesirable books. I have never read Mein Kampf, but I intend to one day. But what the main focus of the Communist Manifesto was a direct quote from the book of Peter in the Bible, which was by each according to their means, to each according to their needs. The early Christian church would amass all of their belongings in one place, and then whoever needed what would go and get it. This seems like socialism to me. All right, so thank you very much for your time, and I hope you have the day that you deserve.